One more to go. So, one of the greatest Chassidic Rebbes and scholars of our generations was the Heilige Kleisenberger Rebbe, Zechat Tzaddik Levracha, Schusa Yogan Lena Rebbe Kasil Yehuda Halberstam, who lived in America. I remember him from Williamsburg as a child, then he moved to Union City, New Jersey, and then he finally moved to Eretz Yisrael. And in Israel, he did a very innovative thing that probably the only one, besides building yeshivas and kollel and shuls, he built a hospital for Jews, plus a nursing school for religious girls to study being a nurse. And so, A, they would have a parnasa, they have a means of living. B, it should serve the hospital so that when a religious person goes to the hospital, he should feel comfortable and happy. And only for Jewish people. Obviously, they have non-Jewish people there also, but his original thought was for Yidden, because after all he suffered by Hitler, who killed out his wife and 10 children, he promised to Hashem that if he gets out of this hell, then he's going to do something to help Jews live and to heal them. After all, he's seen Nebuch, how many Jews thrown into the crematorium and Nebuch being slaughtered like they were, including his family. Anyway, so this great man, the Kleisenberger Rebbe, would relate this story. And it's brought down in his book on Chumash, the Shef HaKadosh, this week's Parashas Matis. He said when he was a small child, he once wanted to hear how his father davens. His father was a great Rebbe, the Golitzer Rebbe. So as a small child, the shuls were built like many of the, even today's modern world. There's long benches, and even in the front, next to the Aron Kodesh, next to the Holy Ark, and next to the Rav, there was also benches. And so he was able to easily fit under a bench near his father, and he heard his father was davening Shemoneh Esrei, the Amidah, the morning prayer, and he hears the way he's saying names of people, the name and the mother's name, and begging Hashem to help them. This one for refuah, this one for they need a shidduch, this one needs a match, this one needs means of living, a place to live, on and on and on, names and names and names. Okay. His father stepped out of Shemoneh Esrei, finished the service, and he turns around and he sees him, and he's ready to run away, and his father smiles to him, he says, okay, you can stay. A couple of years later, when he was 11 years old, he writes, he happened to have a very nice penmanship, nice way how to write. So his father asked him to help him at his spare time with letters and communications with people. He had thousands and thousands of people throughout Europe that he would have to write to daily, to many people. And that became sort of like his introduction to becoming a Rebbe later on. And his father told him that every single person that ever gave him a kvittel, like when you write to a tzaddik, your name and your mother's name, since he became a Rebbe, which then was already 50 years that he's a Rebbe, he davens for praise every day, 3 times a day, by every Shemoneh Esrei, for every single one of them. It's like almost, how could it be such a thing? But the Heilige Tzaddikim have in mind their people and the people that they have to daven for. And he said it was just amazing, amazing, amazing. At first, his father said he only was able to remember every single name of the people from the big cities. In other words, his chassidim or even other people that came, but they were like people that came regularly. But the people from the small towns, that would come maybe once a year, once every 5 years, no, he wasn't able to remember first, but he trained himself, and he said every single person's name, for every single tefillah, every prayer service, 365 days a year, 3 times a day. Talking about being sensitive and disregarding oneself and only being concerned with others, right? Have a good night.